A big problem calls for innovative solutions, and it may be impossible to solve on your own. How do you chart the quickest path to a positive outcome? Crowdsource the best option, and brainstorm like the pros.
If I had to let people in on a little secret, I think that the best value of our entire design product development process is probably these brainstorming sessions.
And I think it's bang for the buck. One of the biggest values that you can do in any creative design process is engaging in the brainstorming activity.
Brainstorming is one of the most intriguing things we do here at Catalyst. I get really fired up about it. Everything's on the table. In this particular session, we got to do our own project, kind of inspired from a recent vacation to a beach where it wasn't clean. It was sad, quite frankly. Lots of pollution that was washing up on the shore.
I think if you look at this problem, the larger systemic problem is pollution of our world, right? That becomes a very broad statement that is more difficult to focus in on in that specific time, in actual time, in a half-a-day session. Chris had identified a specific need, though, a need to clean the beaches.
How can we help reduce that, particularly by focusing on a solution that is affordable and portable?
So that narrowed down the scope is something that we could think a bit more practically about, but yet in that one little statement, there can be 100 different ways that an everyday person can help clean our beaches.
I think the environment you set for these innovation sessions is really, really important.
One of the great things about Catalyst is we have this brainstorming innovation room where it's blank white walls. But when we're done, we've written all over the walls, we've written on paper, we put up inspirational photos or videos that can help lead us.
And the whole session needs to be geared to inspire people to be creative, to think differently, to offer new ideas.
Just get people kind of out of their comfort zone a little bit. And then kind of the inverse of that is making people comfortable. So setting up an environment that facilitates that, that's more fun. We really want to have fun, because if you're not having fun, then typically you're staying within your kind of, you're staying on your rails, right? You're not thinking innovatively. But if you're having fun, then the barriers start to break down.
The purpose for this type of session is to facilitate an environment where people can be more creative, more open, and then you have mechanisms in place to help you strategically get to certain topics that you think are going to help build your understanding of a concept, of your ideas that you can create.
He's in charge of the timekeeping and keeping us on agenda, and then that gives me the freedom to kind of be creative. The practical and the creative allows us to both kind of push each other.
So there are some structures that we will outline in an agenda for a session, and most of these are really built about setting the tone for the group environment and making it comfortable, making it creative, and then creating some efficiencies for us later, and then some boundaries.
A lot of really successful brainstormings have come when you can get as many different points of view as possible, because then you're not tunnel vision on one problem or one way of approaching the problem. You have a greater chance for success when you have, kind of diversity of backgrounds and concepts and things like that.
Our industrial designers see the world one way and a fresh approach, and our engineers may tackle it right away mechanically and try to figure out a solution, but together we're able to play off of each other and be able to enhance whatever the initial concepts are.
I think they don't need any specific skill and expertise, but they do need a creative attitude and willing to share.
Anybody can participate. It's about being active in the conversation and springboard ideas, which is what makes it so much fun and interesting to see how it's all going to play out.
So the first thing we'll do, and like most meetings, you all introduce yourselves, and that's really just to get conversation started. Then as we get through that, an icebreaker and things like that, that helps people kind of just get more comfortable, more relaxed.
It's the engagement that you actually get to do and see and have everyone light up typically about the problem at hand.
So one of the things we do is we have these warm-up exercises or different games that we play. One of our favorites is to play this game called Disruptus. Really what it does lots of things for us. One of those is just getting people sketching. So not focusing on the quality of the sketch, but just getting your idea on paper. So that's the first thing.
Here's how you sketch. Here's how you put it in our format. Here's what we're going to do with it later. Here's how you share. And that's a really big thing in sharing our ideas.
It helps us facilitate this idea of getting ideas out there quickly and then letting them go and then moving on to the next idea.
It allows us to really stretch their imagination.
Turning problems upside down, combining things together to make a new solution.
It's all about inspiration. It might be research, it might be hands-on activity that we had here as well. Props are nice because they're dynamic. It lets you try things and you start to see, oh, well, maybe I need to think about this idea a little differently, right? Because we're not here to just talk about the idea that you were already thinking about. We're here to discover the ideas you weren't thinking about. In this session, the concepts are very, very loose. They're not intended to be detailed. They're not intended to be worked out.
From the standpoint of somebody showing up feeling intimidated to put their idea on paper, they shouldn't. Use a stick, use some words.
You don't have to know how to make things work. You just have to come up with a great idea and then we can work out how to make things work later.
Let the guard down a little bit. They've opened up, and then that's when the real kind of valuable stuff can happen.
Your best innovation will come from how you build upon what you would have considered a bad idea, because that has challenged you to think about a topic in a way that you normally wouldn't.
Jump in and then just talk my way through what my drawing is, and that's part of the experience, is expressing your idea on paper so it's captured, and then dialoguing with the group.
You can take a piece of paper and maybe you sketched, a stick figure, but you put a title on it. The title is still capturing an idea. And that's a safe way to share ideas. It still gets it on the board and it lets us remember it and talk about it later. Put them on the wall and you can start to sort and gather and group categories, and then you start to see a little bit more of a congregation of your ideas.
One reason that we categorize them, because it gives us the ability to kind of segregate and vote based upon within a certain category. So you want a solution that's portable, it's probably good to kind of brainstorm within that portable category.
Layering ideas on top of each other and saying, okay, what about this? And how about if you add that? And what if it did this?
Oh, we like this idea over here that's portable, and we like this idea over here that's really good at cleaning up the beach. How can we combine those? It has a lot better chance of being kind of the product and the solution that you want.
It's very helpful as an actionable step from the session is to take a moment to let a team vote on it.
We use a pretty simple voting process. One, we limit the votes, right? So everybody's kind of has the same say. And then we also have users vote anonymously.
After they've collected their own thoughts, they can then share that with the team. We'll put those on the board and we'll start to see where the true and honest votes congregated.
We want to make sure that we're taking the bias out of that as much as possible.
We do an initial voting system to say, okay, which one of these ideas kind of spoke to you?
You might have 30 ideas on the wall. They all individually could be patentable new ideas versus the 1 or 5 that maybe you thought about at your desk before.
So great, we've had this awesome brainstorming session. We've come up with all these amazing concepts, and we've voted on some have come to the top.
Now you are getting topics that maybe are a bit more tangible or a bit more really unmet needs that you're trying to solve problems for.
And one thing we're sure to do is not just say, oh, this concept got a lot of votes, it must be the best one, let's move forward. We talk about it, right? We talk about, why did you vote on it?
So from this, we'll identify some favorites. Maybe there's 5 really strong leaders, and so we'll take those and mature those into concepts. We might assign the engineering team to do some more technical research on a topic because, hey, this other idea was really cool, but we don't know how to make it work, and we need to know some technology exists first. So that might be an assignment. The assignment might be to collect these and do more of an extended voting within a larger company to get more input.
So that they can get real life feedback instead of just developing their project in a bubble.
We've done this a lot, and we understand the importance of the process, and we've seen the fruits of the process when it's been successful.
The more effort you put into it, the more of an event you make, the more investment you make, but the more probability you have to get that golden nugget. So that's what I think is like the biggest value and why people really should embrace and invest in it.
Follow these 7 steps for the quickest path to positive outcomes. If you need further support, just reach out to the Brainstorming pros at Catalyst.